Thank you,
I love
Aaron.
the clicker.
I think this is one of the first conferences where I've actually seen the host invite everybody come closer, and they've done it. So thanks for the engagement, everybody, and great presence here at the end. So as I said before, my name is John Lynn, co-founder of Quay Acceleration, and we're here to talk about the impact of AI on expertise, on workforce development, on organizations. And so we have three panelists here who please come join me now. We have Barclay, Blair, Senior Managing Director of AI Innovation at DLA Piper. Ismael, Faro, Vice President of Quantum and AI at IBM. And Tracy, Quitasol, LLM Trainer at Perplexity. I'm going to introduce them quickly, but we're going to be discussing things like what kinds of work are already being replaced by AI, how quickly is it happening, what kind of scale can we expect, is it going to be gradual or even more rapid than we imagine? Other interesting items. So Barclay, Senior Managing Director of AI Innovation at DLA Piper, leads the firm's global AI practice at one of the world's largest law firms, advising Fortune 500s, vendors, and governments on the legal and strategic implications of AI. Is that correct?
That's pretty close. Yeah, that's pretty close. To get more specific, in the last 18 months, I've built a 30-person software company inside the world's third largest law firm, and we're generating 7 figures in hard dollar revenue, and we're poised to deliver tens of millions of dollars in gross margin improvement. So that's the perspective I'll be coming from today.
Thanks for being with us, Barclay. We also have Ismael Faro, experience, co-founded Qiskit, and now leads IBM's quantum AI software stack. Add to that, please.
Yeah, sure. Yep, it's correct. And yep, I try to help to the people to connect all these technologies, and it's interesting, no? Because at the end, AI is something that is real. Most of you are using today or these days ChatGPTs and all of that, and this affect also to your day by day, also affect your work and how you can grow. And from research, that is the side that I am working, is we try to figure out how also this impact in us and in the next generations of new developers, new people that work with these technologies.
We'll be excited to hear some use cases of how you've accomplished that. And last, Tracy, LLM Trainer at Perplexity, helped professionals and enterprises build fluency in how large language models think, respond, and create, combines a marketing and innovation background to bridge human creativity and AI capability.
Hi, thank you. I am a marketer by training, so I fell backwards into AI. And I have been lucky to have a front row seat to how the LLMs are built for the past year and a half. So I kind of take a perspective from both an individual and a marketer as I watch these things being built and how they inform and impact society and work and business.
So we'll want to go to our first question, which is like kind of captures the topic. What kinds of work are already being replaced by AI and how quickly is it happening? But you know, I think this panel already shows some of that impact, right? Like some of these organizations and roles didn't exist not so long ago, right? So you know, who can start on that for us? What kinds of work are being replaced by AI and how quickly is it happening?
I'm happy to start. Is there any lawyers in the room? Okay, put on your muffs for the next couple minutes. You know, for me, this isn't a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact. It is replacing lawyers right now, today. You know, another way to think about this is that when the world stopped riding horses and started riding cars, was it the horses that decided that, or was it the riders that decided that? And the riders is the client, and the lawyers are the horse. So the big thing that's changed in the last few years, and single-handedly almost as a result of ChatGPT and the fact that you, I, our children, our grandparents consider AI, is that clients are much less afraid of AI. And now our most leading edge clients expect legal services to be cheaper, faster, better, and they expect us to be using AI. So that's what's happening, I think, at the edge of this market in legal. I think there's already millions of hours of legal work that are not being billed because the density of the work that a lawyer does in an hour is increasing rapidly and massively as a result of their use of AI.
Thank you.
You can take the muffs off now.
Ismael, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think that also is like, and you can see that the impact that these technologies are going to have now, today, in the developers, okay, ecosystem or entrepreneurs ecosystem to create more rapid things, are going to accelerate also is like how the people are going to need to change and modify and learn. At the end, it's something that is happening. You know? It's like today, a lot of people or companies try to bring us new technologies, new LLMs, new ways to, for example, write code in most efficient way. This means it's possible that in some moment, in 3-5 years from now, we are not going to need to write the same way the code that we write to create applications or solutions, because the AI are going to do that. But we are going to need to have new figures, new skills to try to find what is the best solutions or the best things for the final users. At the end, it's a compromise between the things that you can do and the things that the people that have the knowledge can validate or accept to be sure that the things that you do have impact, continues to have impact in the right way. At the end, the users are going to continue to be users.
Is there an example of how you've seen that happen with a client that your group is working with, or even internally?
Yeah, it's like the previous one of the previous speakers talked that it's very difficult to measure. Okay, the timing of the amount of time that you reduce. No, it's like that. This means you can make other things, but internally, like the thing that we try to measure is exactly how much commits the people can do using AI or without AI, and how these also are going to affect the productivity of the people. From one side, with the solution that we have today, you can see that it's not very, it's like, are good in the first shot. Okay, when I say in the first shot, is when you start to do things, but in the moment that you try to introduce complexity, it's like the systems, the AIs, the code assistants, are not incredible good, because it's like small learners or your interns. But again, it's something that if you have the knowledge, you can move in the right direction. The value that we saw in some, and I have today one discussion with one of the researchers that is focusing create these LLMs. He told me that is more or less internally in the teams is 2x in the productivity. This means, and this is when you start. The idea is how in the moment that you continue to add more knowledge and the system know better about you and your thing, your productivity are going to be better.
So not just seeing expectations change in the organization in terms of multitude or amplitude, but also in category, new ways to be measured. Tracy, kind of at the spearhead of this impact, right? Like telling the story of how this can happen. What are you seeing in terms of these work changing?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a contrarian. I think AI is like having 10,000 interns. You still have to check the work, right? So I do believe, like earlier today we heard Mark say, or is it Mike, say that the value of the customer relationship is still very high. The proximity to the customer. Everyone can use AI to write a really great email, check. That's what everyone's using it for. But this notion that you'll get more out of it still requires subject matter expertise by humans. So I do believe that we will see huge replacements of some of the grunt work. I saw in the journal, I think it was today, that many AI companies are recruiting some of the financial analysts, younger financial analysts, to come and be subject matter experts in AI. They're going to get paid more. They're going to work less hours, and their expertise will be used to train the AI. So there's going to be certain replacements, I think, that happen regardless, but I do think the value of the human ethics, judgment, context, and personalities will remain part of the value of what comes into play.
I mean, I think you can encode that in AI. So I don't disagree. I just think that you can do that at scale, and that's what we're doing. I mean, look, we're not going to replace a 20-year partner anytime soon, and why would we? Because what's the job of that partner? It's to get work. It's to manage the client relationship. It's to manage the work. They make sure it gets done at an incredibly high level of quality. So the bloodbath here is not at that level, right? It's at the entry level. It's at the junior ranks. And that is going to be a bloodbath, I think. I mean, from a white-collar work perspective, I have an 18-year-old son. I don't know what to tell him to do with his life. I don't know what to tell him to go study in school. So I think, yes, just back to the law firm context, the reality is, are we going to be firing lawyers tomorrow? Well, no, because we also are growing as an organization, right? So like this is the real story is that, yeah, there's if we continue to be successful, we're going to continue to grow, and those associates will find work, and they will start to do more of their work with AI and so on. But it will very definitely affect the pattern of how we hire, who we hire, the velocity of that, and the kind of work that they're expected to do. One of our applications is replacing lawyers in a particular context. We can do it for half the cost. We can do it 20 times faster. We can do it more accurately, and we can improve the margin for the firm by 4 times. That's a pretty intoxicating mix from a business perspective that's hard to avoid.
Love those specific details from what you're seeing on the ground in your org and around it. Encourage more of that sharing from everybody. And you're hitting on to maybe one of the most difficult and painful questions when it comes to this is, you know, opportunity as we knew it at the junior level, but all over is gone, and it's a 3-dimensional challenge. You've got to talk about it, Tracy, and telling the story of Perplexity and LLMs. It's got to be something that's done at an institutional level. So how do we manage the transition? So workers, clients benefit, or so that they understand the change and can get involved?
Yeah, I think the beauty of AI right now, and I'm of the age where, you know, we saw email come into play and the iPhone and even Cosmo.com, for any of those who knew the instant delivery in New York. I think the point is that AI is accessible to everyone. I think someone said that earlier. Absolutely everyone can use AI. So I think that's the message. I think you hear a lot of, I'm based out of New York, but in Silicon Valley there's this volume of this technology is great. If you're not doing it now, you're going to lose your job. In fact, the adoption rates are not as high as they say they are, which there's a fear factor and a consumer adoption rate that I think the AI companies, and you know, this is as a marketer I say this, get out there and connect with the consumers, because no technology can go at the speed at which it's going without consumer adoption. And so I think you're seeing that gap right now, but that's the opportunity for everyone building. That's the opportunity for everyone to get out there and teach it, to do upskilling, to do different things now. We are in this kind of amorphous phase where, guess what, not everybody's using it. People are coming in to say, what is the parlay for the, you know, these 2 teams playing this weekend? Or, you know, there's certain things happening that people are using it, and then there's heavy users. But the big gap is the huge opportunity, I think, for builders, for innovators, for consumers, and people of every age. I find on my side of the coin, from what I see inside, is that it's often the more seasoned workers or questioners that are pushing the AI harder because they're going to probe more. Maybe Gen Z might say, oh, here's the answer. And someone on the other side is going to say, no, actually that's not, what about, which AI can help you with, which is awesome. So I think that the opportunity lies in, guess what, we're all starting at a level field here. Everybody can build anything with a little bit of code and Claude or whoever you use. And as long as you teach your workers that they can use AI, you can probably elevate what your company is doing.
Sold. We'll go to Ismael next, but I really love that answer because it's really emphasizing you know, the growth and pervasiveness of AI is not just about the fact that it's putting a dent in Google, like we saw earlier today, but the fact that the barrier is so low. So what do you think, Ismael?
In our case, from research, for very technical people, no, and developers, you can think that, the people are going to be early adopters. No. And that is something that I push to the team to be AI native. But AI natives to try to understand how to use the AI. Don't try to say, no, because I try to solve everything. Because that is the expertise and the craftsman part that the researchers or developers can bring and make the differentiation. But if you don't embrace that you can or you must to be AI native, it's from technical point of view in my institution is need to be mandatory, because at the end is something that you are going to do all the days. No?
So tell us about how that happens. How do you make it mandatory?
Mandatory is first, obviously, making demonstrations internally, but be like the ambassadors of how do the things and how use the things in the right way. Because also it's like, again, you like a company and thinking in any company in the world, no? All the companies have these several policies to be sure that all the data is here, blah, blah. If you don't understand that most of your workers use today AI tools outside of your work, do you believe if you don't bring the tools to your people, it's like how the people are going to use that? No? This is one direction. The other direction is the people that say, no, because I want to do everything by myself. Say, yeah, this is a collaboration. It's like, and you need to understand that AI is part of this collaboration. It's like you need to collaborate with others and with AI. Why? Because at the end, it's a tool that can facilitate to you to be more productive.
And Tracy mentioned this other sort of great moment that we had earlier today with Mike from OpenAI, where he was like, if development stopped today, there would be 10 years of growth in the field. And Tracy, like you said, adoption still low. But the field is continuing to grow. That gap. I mean, I understand some of the tactics we're thinking about and taking advantage of the new market opportunities or getting people more involved, but how do we increase that adoption?
Well, in the law firm world, the way you increase adoption is through self-interest. Because if you don't use it, you're going to fall behind, and your partners aren't going to give you work, and you'll be fired. I mean,
True.
I mean, look. I mean, it's fashionable to be euphemistic about the impact of AI on the world, but this is New Jersey, right? We can handle the truth. We're tough. Yes. I mean, I'm being purposefully a little bit flippant about it, but because the reality is that yes, we have big programs at the firm that train people, incentivize them. Our summer associates this year, they were all set up with a workstation with 2 screens. One was devoted to AI tools. So we're sending a message like, look, we expect you to be using this, and so on. The problem we have is we're a factory that sells this widget. It's called an hour, right? And so one of the structural problems we have is, what is an associate who needs to bill 2,000 hours a year? What's their incentive to do things faster, right? So there's an economic problem that we need to solve as a firm. One of the reasons I'm not a lawyer, you may have guessed. One of the reasons I went to DLA is they do 50% of their work across the board on AFA, so outside the billable hour. So then our incentives are kind of aligned, but where they're not, that's a structural problem. But it's also kind of reductivist, because the reality is how you make yourself useful as an attorney is you help move things along, you help service the client, you pitch in where you can, and the reality is that AI is a superpower to enable you to do more of that in less time for more partners to increase your impact in the firm and move forward. So that's just in the context of a law firm.
Why go so fast?
Because the clients want us to.
I fear, like social media, the effect it will have on the society and young people.
I do too. I think that it is. Look, there's 2 things we know for sure that were true in the past. One is that technology has never once shrunk the labor pool, or labor has always increased labor. Is that going to continue with AI? I'd like to hear my panelists' opinion of that. I think it will, but the revolution's not distributed evenly, right? So there will be parts of society that will suffer, and quite frankly, I think our leaders need to take this issue more seriously from a structural economic perspective, because it's going to be very impactful. Yeah, I'm just talking about humans in this case, yes.
No, but
Ismael, go ahead. You've got
yeah, no,
your.
it's like, from my point of view, it's like I am a little bit more optimistic in the sense that the other day, I said, I made comments with my colleagues in a previous meeting that I don't remember exactly, but I listened in a podcast, one YouTuber that talked about was chatting about how I explained to my father that I made money, a YouTuber, with something that 10 years or 20 years ago doesn't exist. This means I can see that AI is coming, yeah, for sure, it's here. I am sure that are going to change a lot of things are going to change, but also, from my point of view, are going to generate a lot of opportunities. The same way that happened with the internet, with the PCs, with the mobile phones, the opportunities are going to be there, because at the end, we need to do things. The other alternative is the AI are going to do everything, and we only need to sleep or go to the parties. It's like, from my point of view, it's like can happen, but from my point of view, it's like we are going to see more and more opportunities, and the example is this conference today. Is all of you are interested in AI and make things with AI. It's like there are something.
Sure. And we're unfortunately running out of time. And Tracy, you.
I'm willing to stay and talk about this for as long as you want.
It's super fun. I'm down too. But Tracy, you kind of already answered, how to manage this. Why is it happening? Well, why are we falling behind the opportunities of AI? And it doesn't have to be Tracy that answers, but I think that this is something we really need to get concrete on in this conversation because, yeah, go ahead.
I'll be quick about this.
Yeah.
So imagine that you're Nikolai Otto, and you just invented the 4-stroke engine, and your buddy comes in and you say to him, hey, this is going to replace all the horses in the world. Yeah, right, because you see the complexity of, well, wait, we need roads that are different, we need to put this in something that people can sit in, we need some mechanism to distribute the fuel, and oh God, what about the safety, and what about all of this stuff? Well, that's the era that we're in now. We have the engine. This is with the point that Mike made. And he talked about this lag. It is the application of that engine is really hard. It's really hard because it's happening with humans. It's happening with politics and in terms of organizations and established structures of how we make money, and it's disruptive, and it's really hard. So I really agree with him about that tail. And I think that's one of the reasons for the gap. Incredibly powerful capability, but it needs to be put in something to do something.
It's such an interesting problem because we're here talking about the impact, and it's that it's so different from what's possible in addition to the big changes that have already occurred. Now, we only have a minute left, and I said at the beginning of today that we didn't want to just be listening to each other. We wanted to be creating an ecosystem and creating exchange. So to each of our panelists, what is one thing that the group can approach you about, that what are some of your goals before the end of the year that you want to talk about maybe offline?
I think it's really important to allow people to try every sort of AI and fail at it. It's okay. I think the volume coming out of Silicon Valley makes people really afraid of trying AI. They hear this, it's so big, you're going to lose your job. Help your parents, help your kids, help your colleagues. Information is power, share it. Show them what you did. I wrote a really great email. I found this line of code that really sucked, and they found it for me in 2 seconds. It created an entire business plan for me and a SWOT analysis, Gemini, I'm a big fan, in 10 minutes. So I think those are the things, and try it. Just keep trying every model until you find one that works for you, and then challenge that model to try another model.
Barclay.
I totally agree with that. When I hire engineers, I chit-chat with them about what they're doing with Gen AI, and if they are not doing anything, I'm like, okay, nice to talk to you. I need context engineers, and those are creative people who can go deep into a problem and see the connections between things. they're good with people. They can talk to people. They can get the story behind the story, and that's the hard part of this. And so, if you know anybody, please.
We're out of time, Ismael.
I just hired someone without a degree.
You have YouTube and GitHub. Like, do you know how I get my position, when I enter in IBM research? I send a tweet. The point is like, most of the time is take the risk is the big point, more than believe that you need to prepare yourself more and more and more. It's like, it's take the risk and go.
What have you built? Have you built something with Gen AI? Cool. So yeah, let's talk. I mean, I just hired someone with a high school education with an incredibly interesting GitHub. It took me 8 months to get that hire done at a big law firm because they don't hire people without degrees. And this is why, because this is the kind of creativity that we need, and it's a new skill set.
I love that this discussion, we've got hands up, we've got call outs. I see you in the back, you've had it up the whole time. This is an indication that we should separate here and take these conversations outside. Panelists, thank you, for your time today. Audience,
Thank you.
We'll have Aaron close it out.